of the world, now I'm living. And the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Hi, it's Ann Perry. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about 11's again. I know I've been taking a little bit of heat lately for talking a lot about the 11's, and there's some people out there that would prefer that I talk about other numbers, but who's more fun to talk about than 11's? I mean, really, right? So I promise I'll get to the other numbers. But you just have to entertain my passion just for a moment. So today we're going to be talking about how can master number 11's help themselves, learning to overcome 4 major issues that are very common to master number 11's. This video was inspired because I started thinking about the fact that I think I've done a pretty good job helping you all to understand who you are, what makes you unique, what makes you different, what makes you special. But you know what? I think it's time that we kind of moved off of that, because I don't want you guys just resting there going, oh, I'm unique and I'm special. I don't have to overcome those challenges because that's just who I am. Nope, it's time to get to work. So I think it's time that we start giving you a few tools to help you to overcome the obstacles and the challenges that you face as being a master number 11. So I hope that you'll stick with me through this program. All right, let's talk about the common issues relating to master number 11's. And I mean, I only had so much time to do this video, and I could list a whole lot more, as you know, but I just chose 4 of the top ones that are generally really challenging a lot of you that have that special, unique energy of the master number 11 somewhere in your chart. So feelings of hopelessness and powerlessness, very common for people who have the master number 11. Depression and anxiety, easily fatigued, feeling very tired, almost under a blanket all the time, and very hypersensitive, all very common traits for the master number 11. So feelings of hopelessness and powerlessness, let's talk about that for a second. So 11's are like moving magnets for energy. You guys, you take it all on. You take everything in. You absorb everybody else's emotions and sometimes even their illnesses. You're very empathic most of the time. So you absorb things like pollutants, toxins in the air, even in the food that you eat, you know, all the chemicals and stuff that's in the foods that we eat. You're very easily affected by those. You're affected by the chemicals in the water that you drink. So you want to make sure that you're drinking pure spring water as much as possible, the best quality water you can get. And you're affected by barometric pressure. I know I certainly am. I can tell you a storm's coming like a week ahead of time. And also things like earth disturbances, like earthquakes. You guys can sense it. You can feel it. So you need to understand, though, that oftentimes the feelings that you're feeling, this hopelessness, this powerlessness, it's not yours, right? It's not even yours. You need to take steps to avoid things that affect your level of sensitivity while we're moving through the master number 11. Now, this doesn't necessarily hold true just for the life path number master number 11, although that's where it's likely the most intense. But if your expression number, or your heart's desire number, or even your birthday number, or the fact you were born in November, these are tips that are really going to help you, okay? So just understand that sometimes when you're feeling really low and feeling very hopeless and very powerless, a lot of times it's really not your feelings. You've picked up on someone else's feelings, okay? So let's talk about that a little further. So how can we help ourselves? How can we help ourselves get over this feeling of hopelessness and powerlessness? So you want to avoid engaging with people who try to steal your power. You know who they are. You know, 11's tend to be a little quieter, a little shyer, especially in their younger years. They tend to be a little bit reserved. And so sometimes people will take advantage of that and try to stomp on you like a bug. So one of the things that you can do to really help yourself here is to make sure that you're always exploring your creative potential. Because remember, the double 1 energy, those 2 1s sitting there, that means regardless of how you get there, whether you're a 2911 or 3811, at the end of the day, you're an 11. And the 11's are here to embrace their creative potential so that they can inspire and empower other people. That makes you feel useful. That makes you feel powerful. That makes you feel in control, right? And really happy. So you want to do whatever you can to express your creativity. You want to check in regularly with yourself by asking yourself, especially for people who are 3811's, because you got that little 8 thing sitting in there, how am I teaching others how to treat me? You know, if you're becoming a doormat and you're feeling a little powerless, you know, you're in a job that you hate, maybe you're in a relationship you're not happy in, take a look around and ask yourself, what have I done to contribute to that? What is it that I'm saying that's contributing to my reality? What is it that I'm not saying? You know, if people are taking advantage of me and disrespecting me and I'm not saying anything about it, guess what? Your reality is going to suck, okay? And you know what? You can change that. But you got to check in very regularly to make sure that you're in control of your power so that you don't feel powerless. Reach out to others who need support. You guys have been there and done that. You know, a lot of you have suffered depression. A lot of you have suffered severe anxiety attacks, you know, all kinds of things that go along with that. You've been there, you've done that. You can support other people who are going through it too. And it helps, again, it helps you to feel powerful, helps you to feel like you've got something to offer, and that your experience is for real, and that your experience actually hasn't been for naught, that you've gone through some of these things, that you can help other people. Reduce your level of alcohol and drug consumption, because obviously alcohol is a depressant, as can be a lot of drugs. Every time we take a drug, we're basically telling our bodies, shut up, I don't want to hear from you, right? Make that thing go away. And I'm going to tell you something. I was that girl. Didn't even know I was that girl, but I was that girl. Recently, a couple months ago, I had a massive gallbladder attack, and I went in for emergency surgery. And of course, the question is, well, surely you must have, you know, felt it coming on or whatever. I'm like, nope. Well, surely that you had some symptoms. No. Well, surely you were feeling awful, or your stomach was, no, right? And then after it was out, I tuned in and I said, you know what? Okay, gallbladder, you're gone now, but the energy you still exists here. Tell me, like, what the heck are you trying to tell me? What's going on here? You know the message I got back? You're not listening. And I'm like, I'm an Aries. I always listen. I'm always on top of my game, right? No, I wasn't listening. Because you know what? Every night I was going to bed with a Tums, right? I had acid indigestion, acid reflux, whatever that is. I had all kinds of other symptoms leading up to it, but I wasn't listening. I'm type A. It's go, 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 go. My body was screaming at you. And you got a problem here. We can probably avoid having the gallbladder come out, but hello, you know. So long story short, by the time it came out, the surgeon told me that my gallbladder was nearly dead and gangrene had already set in. Hello? Is that not a wake-up call? So you need to tune in. You need to really tune in. And every time you reach, particularly 11's, right? I have an 11 in my chart, obviously. That's why I do these 11's. And so really when it comes down to it, we tend to be very sensitive to pain, and we get sensitive to stomach upset. We get sensitive to skin irritations and whatnot. We'll reach for the first thing that will relieve us of that. But you really need to tune in to find out what's causing that. What's the underlying cause, right? So you want to choose foods that are full of live enzymes. So that's like fruits and vegetables and whatnot, things that have not been cooked. As soon as you cook a fruit or a vegetable, it becomes a dead enzyme. Okay, you'll get some value from it, but really what you want is the live enzymes from foods rather than eating all the processed foods. Have your blood checked, right? There's a good possibility that your serotonin levels are low, maybe your iron levels are low. There's all kinds of things that can be fixed from a physiological perspective. Maybe the doctor can identify, or your naturopath can identify deficiencies that might be causing you to feel a little low. Okay. All right. Depression and anxiety. 11's, as you know, often suffer from depression. And you know, the word depression is really kind of cool. When you think about the word depression, of course, you think about sadness, right? When I think about the word depression, I think about a thumb that's being held down, you know, that's pushing down on me. And there's depression, like tongue depressors, you know, you depress a key, it's force, right? What's holding you back? What's keeping you down? That's what you need to ask yourself. What's keeping me down? What's keeping me depressed, right? Rather than open. So sometimes people who with the master number 11, they suffer from depression because they're setting the bar too high. You guys have that crazy amount of cellular memory, you've heard me talk about it before, that causes you to know in your subconscious mind, you know that you've lived previous lifetimes where you've probably been there and done that. And maybe you haven't been there and done that in this lifetime, but you set the bar based on your previous lifetime. And it's not really quite fair because you don't have the years of experience yet with which to accomplish the task. So sometimes you get a little bit down because you're not meeting the goals that you think that you should. So depression and anxiety can also come from an imbalanced diet, as we just talked about, or a lack of sunlight as well. So those of us who live in the northern climates, sometimes we have to struggle a lot to get a little bit of daylight. So, and it can also be related to your living and your working environment. Okay, so you're very sensitive to your living and working environment. So who are you working with? Are they Debbie Downers, right? They suck on the life out of you? Are they energy vampires? Do they not get you? Do they not understand that you are a sensitive person? Things like that can make you feel pretty depressed and pretty anxious if you have to go to that workplace every day and you're not feeling 100%. So how can you help yourself with depression and anxiety? Start by setting realistic and attainable goals. Stop setting that bar so freaking high that you just can't get there, right? Healthy eating is good for overall health. But there's some foods in particular that are really good to help raise your serotonin levels. And that would include things like eggs, sour cherries, as well as fish oil. Ugh. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Coconut oil and flaxseed oil. Maybe I can get that down. And that really helps to boost the serotonin levels. So there's just some natural ways. And you can search that online. There's tons of foods that will help to raise your serotonin levels. Always try to live in the moment rather than projecting into the future. My God, you guys, you project so much down to the future. You're worrying about you're not good enough. You guys are poster children for I'm not good enough. Anything I do isn't big enough. It isn't great enough. I'm sure something bigger is coming along because I know I'm supposed to be doing something really big, but I don't quite know what it is yet. Start today, right? Live in the moment. You don't know if you have tomorrow. I keep preaching this to you guys. You don't know if you have tomorrow. You don't know if you have 5 minutes from now. Make a difference today. Embrace your creative potential. Help to inspire somebody. Just by sending me messages on my YouTube channel, man, dude, that raises my vibration every single day. You have no idea. I get up every morning and I get these amazing messages from you guys that say that, I've inspired you or, empowered you in some way through the messages that I do. If that's the only thing you do in the course of a day, consider yourself appreciated, right? I love that. So keep it coming. Step away from sugar and all things that are processed. When I first started working with energy work and taking some Reiki treatments for myself, my Reiki master was all over me because I was eating way too much sugar. And she said, food, sugar is the food of the devil. It's that white stuff. Anything that's white is the food of the devil and it will make you angry like a devil. And you know what? She's right. And you want to tune into that. The more sugar you eat, the worse your body feels. Sugar is an inflammatory, right? And it can be a depressant. And, if you're feeling badly, if your muscles hurt, if your joints are aching because they're all inflamed, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be depressed. Okay? Common sense here, people. So step away from all things that are sugary, that are processed, all white flours, anything to do with things that are processed. Not good for 11's. You have a very, very sensitive energy field. And things like sugar clog your energetic body, and they don't allow you to get the messages that you so desperately want, right? You guys thrive on guidance from the other side, right? You have that 1-800 dial-up connection that I always refer to, but sometimes there's a lot of static on the line, and the static is coming from the fact that you're polluting your body with a bunch of junk, okay? So consider what you're feeding your body. Your body was a perfect machine when it arrived here. It was a perfect machine. It was capable of getting all the messages that you need and all the guidance and direction you needed from angelic forces or any kind of spiritual forces. So don't clog up the arteries. So studies have also shown that the chemical process of how serotonin functions in the brain is affected in people who drink coffee or any type of caffeine. Something to think about. You want to introduce yoga and meditation into your routine as well. Yoga is a wonderful thing, not only for the body, but also for the mind. If your mind is flexible, your body tends to be flexible. If your body is flexible, your mind will become more flexible. It's just a natural flow of events. Easily fatigued. 11's, they often experience a lot of fatigue. So you might wonder why you can't keep up with everybody else. You always feel like you need a nap, right? Your whole life is around having a nap in the afternoon. Sleep is often difficult for 11, so that's why sometimes during the day you're feeling really tired because you don't sleep well. You're plugged in all the time. It's very hard for you to sleep. It's very seldom I talk to an 11 who says, oh yeah, no, I put my head on the pillow and I'm good for the night. Not so much for most of them. Because your brain is super turbocharged and it seldom turns off. Like I said, you're plugged in all the time. Your entire nervous system is on mega time all day long, which results in fatigue. You guys just never let up, right? You're always thinking. You're vibrating faster than everybody else, remember? And your senses are working in overdrive all day long too. So you are exhausted by the time you hit the pillow, but your mind doesn't stop, so therefore you tend not to sleep very well. So what can you do about that? Well, try to maintain really good sleep routines. Whatever your routine is before you go to bed, try to stick with that. Because I find disturbances in the routine cause people to have more difficulty sleeping. And before you go to bed, avoid stimulants like TV. If you're watching a really gory show or movie or an adventure or the news, which is always full of good news, said nobody ever, it's really going to affect you. Your subconscious mind is going to play that over and over and over again in your head, so it's hard to sleep with that. Turn off the internet. Keep the computer out of your bedroom. Video games, forget about it right before you go to bed. Sugary foods, caffeine, always makes sense. Stay away from that stuff before you go to bed. Introduce meditation into your daily routine. Certainly helps. Write down how you're feeling in a journal daily. I can remember a couple of times in my life where I went through some pretty low times. Thankfully, I haven't gone through many of them, but I have been there. And, it seems to me that I tend to journal when I'm going through a real shitty time, right? So when times are really, really tough, I write it down. And you know what's good about that? Is several years later, you'll be digging through your stuff and you find your journal and you open it up and you go, oh my God, was I ever in a crap hole, right? Look at me then, look at me now, right? And it's a measure of how much better I'm doing, okay? So it's a really good idea to journal when you can. Try placing an amethyst under your pillow. Works really well. Using lavender. I have a lavender spray, a natural lavender spray, none of this drugstore stuff, but get yourself some really good quality aromatherapy oils. Lavender oil is great. Spray it on your pillow. It's awesome. Carry grounding stones with you during the day, like black tourmaline or red jasper. I tend to carry black tourmaline with me, and I keep it around my computer because it discharges a lot of negative energy. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's kind of what black tourmaline looks like. It's a big piece of it. Go big or stay home when it comes to gemstones, right? Practice deep breathing techniques when you're lying in bed at night. Just start filling your belly with air. Rather than filling your lungs, fill your belly with air. That really helps as well. Okay, let's talk about hypersensitivity. 11s are naturally more sensitive than others. You guys vibrate at a different rate. You vibrate much higher than anybody else. You're sensitive to all things that can be sensed. So this means you can be sensitive to food, to light, to sound, to skin. Your stomach can be sensitive. You have all kinds of allergies. Your nervous system is very sensitive. You're sensitive to noise and other people's energy. And you may be sensitive to your own or even other people's mood swings. Okay, you can kind of tune into stuff like that. So if somebody kind of depressed around you, you tune into that. You can feel that as well. So you can be very sensitive to that. So what can you do to help yourself through that with hypersensitivity? This is going to sound really whacked out, but you forget who you're talking to, right? Or you're listening to. So try to live in an area away from excessive hydro lines. I know that sounds bizarre, but there's all kinds of studies out there that will say if you're living in a place that has tons of hydro lines intersecting and crossing all around, it's very disturbing to the electromagnetic field. So you 11s have a really hard time with that. So anything that is pulsating electrical energy all the time is bad. I had a client actually that had to move her bed away from a wall that had a plug-in light socket thing, electrical plug outlet. The energy and the electricity running up and down the walls was keeping her awake at night. As soon as she moved her bed, she was okay. So having things on like digital clocks beside your bed, not a good thing. Your cell phone, absolutely not. Do not have your cell phone beside your bed when you sleep. For God's sakes, just don't even think about it, right? It's just bad. So keep your cell phone off. Never sleep with it beside your bed. If you have to have it with you, I get that, right? We're all about that. But you want to make sure that it's off as much as possible. And I know that it is still transmitting to a certain degree, but from the little bit I understand about this, there's not as much energy transmitting when your phone is turned off. Get outside in nature as often as possible. Unplug, okay? Just unplug. Stop the texting. Oh my God, I can make a whole video just on texting and how disruptive that is and how stressful that can be and how your mind never stops. Stressing is the worst, or texting, I should say, is probably the worst thing that was ever invented. And I'm sure I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate mail for this, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you, it used to be that, when we were kids, 10 o'clock, the phones got turned off and that's it. If you were having an argument with somebody, guess what? You'd have to talk it out the next day. But it gave you some defrag time, right? Now there's no defrag time. It's like, you better answer that text immediately. It's like, oh my God, someone texted me. I got to answer it, right? Oh, there's a text on top of my text. There's a comment on my comment. It's just ridiculous. Like Facebook as well, same thing. So really limit how much of that stuff you engage in. When you're outside in nature, you're connecting to the earth. You guys are connected up here, right? You need grounding. You need to be plugged in. For you to be able to get good messages and really good spiritual wisdom coming to you, you need to be a lightning bolt. How do you be a lightning bolt? Well, you can't be a lightning bolt until it touches the ground. Lightning bolts don't happen until we don't even see them until they actually plug in and touch to the ground. So you need to be really sure that you're getting outside as much as possible and grounding to Mother Nature. Okay? Get tested for allergens. Great thing to do. There's all kinds of allergy testing out there. Work with a naturopath to help with the adrenal fatigue, because that's very common for those of you who are 11s. Tune into the foods that you're sensitive to and don't eat them. Stay away from them. Do what makes you feel good rather than what others want you to do. You can become doormats really quickly. Do what you feel is right. If you sense something, trust your intuition and go with it. Do not, cow to and cave. Cow? Where'd that come from? Do not kowtow. Do not cave. Whatever. Just don't do it. All right. Make sure that whatever you're doing it because you want to do it, not because somebody else is making you feel like you need to do it for them. Communicate to the people that you're living with or that you're working with that you have special needs. And you do. You might not be able to have a person sitting in the cubicle next to you having their country music playing all day long. It might drive you crazy because you're sensitive to that, right? The person sitting in the other cubicle might be wearing a scent. Scent is going to be something that you're sensitive to, right? So develop the courage with which to say, hey, you know what? This is what I need. And that will help to control your environment so that you don't have to experience these hypersensitivities. That is it. So I hope that you've gained a little bit of insight in how to help yourself through the challenges that the Master Number 11 has. I do hope that you'll stay in touch. You're welcome to contact me at AnnPerryNumerologist.com. And I also have my Facebook page. I post something new every single day, so I really hope that you'll join me there and follow me. And obviously, I'd love it if you would sign up for my YouTube channel. Love it if you become a subscriber. This has been an amazing journey for me for it's only been 2 years since I've been not even 2 years that I've been actually doing YouTube videos, and you guys make it worthwhile. You guys just fill my soul every single day. It's just so cool to be able to connect with you, and to know that I'm making a little bit of a difference is awesome. So I'm going to be teaching some online courses. If you're interested in learning about them, send me a message. If you got any questions about this or anything else, post it down below. I'm glad to talk to you, glad to communicate with you, and help you on your journey. I'm hoping you're having a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care. Have a great one. Bye for now.